Hi, my name is Abby, and today I'm going to be telling you about the Middle School Innovations in Aquaculture Kit for EPSCoR. The first activity is called Kelp Forest Towers, and it's about the way organisms interact in an environment. The activity comes with these 4 materials. First, we have the Web of Life necklaces, which is a full set, and the youth will be wearing those to identify themselves as organisms. And then we also have a ball of twine that they'll be throwing to create the web. Next, we have 5 of these sets. They have colored blocks in them to represent organisms. And then there's also 5 decks of environmental changes cards, which they'll be using to play the game. Alright, so first we start with an introduction. So I usually ask the youth to tell me about their environment, what kind of things are in their environment, what is there too much of, what is there too little of, what's just right, and then we talk about the way they interact. And so they'll give me a list of that, and then we'll go into the first part, which uses the necklaces. So you hand out a necklace to each of the kids, and then they stand around in a circle, and they talk about the way energy is passed through their environment. So, for example, you would say, who's the sun? And then you'll ask who gets their energy from the sun. So then they'll go in and say, kelp do, because they get their food from the sun using photosynthesis. And then you'll ask who gets energy from kelp. And so then they'll say sea urchin, because sea urchins ingest kelp. And then you can go through and say wolffish get their energy from sea urchin because they eat sea urchin. And so you'll create a web by using this twine, you'll pass it around, the person with the sun will start, and then they'll throw it to a kelp. And then a kelp can either throw it back to the sun, or they can throw it to a wolffish or a sea urchin, because sea urchins and wolffish can get their energy from the kelp. So you'll go through until everybody has a piece of the twine, and you'll have a web created, and that will show the way everything interacts in the environment. And then you can have some organisms drop the twine or have them pull harder, and that will help explain the way things interact and the differences in power and what would happen if something went away or if something was too much. So then they'll move on to the tower building game. So what you'll want to do is you want to split them up into groups of 4 or 5, and then they'll each take a tower and they'll set it up just like this, with the green blocks on the bottom and then the pink, the blue, and then the uncolored. So it represents the surface of the ocean, so this won't move at all when you're playing. And then these represent the wolffish, the sea urchin, and the kelp. So what they'll do is they'll each take turns pulling a card. So they'll flip the first card over and they'll read it out loud to their group. Chemical spill in the ocean. Remove 1 kelp block, 1 urchin block, and 1 wolffish block. So what that person will do is they'll take 1 kelp block out, and they can pick any kelp they want and set it to the side, and then take an urchin block out as well. Set that to the side, and a wolffish block. And so it's very important that you don't tell them that these cannot go back on the top of the tower. You just remove them and then leave them there. So then someone else will take their turn, and if they get a card that says to add a kelp block, then they would take the green block and put it back in. And so you just keep going, keep drawing cards and reading them out loud, and then building and unstacking your tower. And then when the tower collapses, that will represent the collapse of the ecosystem. And so this whole game is trying to show the importance of preventing small changes, because small changes can prevent a disaster in the ecosystem.